Like so many people, I just feel my inbox is full of so many people that are so frustrated with the absolute catastrophe that we face before us today as a country. And I've just watched Rishi Sunak's speech, and I just can't believe it. I just can't believe that the main problem that he thinks is he's saying is the main problem in this country is the far right. There is no far right in this country. There's like a sprinkling of like literally far right people that, you know, might sit there on the internet all the time and watch God knows what, or have a copy of Mein Kampf. But the majority of people that are labelled as far right aren't far right at all. In 2019, there was around 7 million people that had been lifelong Labour voters, and they converted to Tory. They lent the Tories their vote in 2019 because they wanted Brexit done, whether they agreed with Brexit or not. They wanted Brexit done because the British people had made a vote and they wanted democracy upheld. There is no far right in this country. For the last 10 to 15 years, the Tories have sat on a platform of reducing immigration. That's the only reason they're in power. Nobody cares about your green agenda. Nobody gives a shit about anything you do in Europe. Nobody cares. The only reason that the Tories are in power is because people, Tory leaders, including Rishi Sunak, has said that they would ensure that immigration was stopped, that immigration was reduced, that the grooming gang issue would be dealt with, that we would go back to our values of policing without fear or favour, that they would increase the police. All of these things, and you've done nothing. All you've done is import millions and millions and millions of more people, and then tell us we have to work until we're 71 to pay for all of these people, and then tell us whenever we complain about the way any of these people behave that we're wrong, that we're literally far right. We're literally far right. That's what you say to us. We're literally like Nazis. We're far right. We're literally far right. It's insane. We're not far right. 7 million of us that voted for the Tories in 2019 were lifelong Labour voters like me. We're not far right. At our heart, we're socialists. At our heart, we want to do the right thing for society. But this country is our home, and most of us don't have dual nationality. Most of us don't have anywhere to go, and we don't have the money to go anywhere, even if we could. Once you fuck this all up, which you're doing, all of you, we don't have any other options. We have no other option but to fight back. And we're sitting there and we're watching Oldham and Telford, and we're watching 19,000 little girls every single year, as young as 8 years old, continue to be violently gang raped by foreign men. And they're majority Pakistani Muslims. And yet the floodgates are still opened, and every single day we see video after video after video of men from Pakistan that are on holiday coming here deliberately with the sole purpose of raping our children. And you're quite happy and you're quite understanding, Keir Starmer, and you'll kneel and you'll understand Black Lives Matter, and you'll kneel for George Floyd 2,000 miles away. You know, a drug-addled nutcase that violently assaulted a pregnant black woman. But when it comes to little girls in Rotherham and Oldham and Oxford and Swindon and Halifax and the other towns and cities all over the UK that are violently gang raped for hours on end, hours in the most horrific ways, you tell us when we're angry about that we've got no right to be angry about that, because it's not particularly our daughters. But it is our daughters. It's the country's daughters. It's tomorrow's women, tomorrow's mothers. And we're sick to death of it. We're absolutely sick to death of horrific moment after horrific moment, from 7/7 to Emily Jones to, you know, the guy with the acid only last month. Just these constant abuses of us, of our people, deliberately targeting white people, deliberately targeting British people, deliberately targeting. Emily Jones was just a little girl on a scooter on Mother's Day in the park. Lee Rigby was a soldier. You know, what's going to happen? When are you going to listen? Why are we not entitled to be scared? Why are we not entitled to be angry? Why do you think that the whole of the British public was entitled to be angry about George Floyd, but we're not entitled to be angry about what's happening to our country, to our people? All of us have children. All of us have children, and you're telling us that we have to literally wait until something horrible happens to our children or us before we're allowed to be outraged. And then when we are outraged, we have to not look back in anger. We have to turn the other cheek. We're not allowed to judge everybody by a small minority of people. Yet the small minority of people that are like wanking away to far-right information on the internet and might swing a gun round now and again, i.e. the actual far-right, which is literally probably only about 10 people. The minute that happens, all of a sudden every single issue is about the far-right. There isn't a far-right. If there was a far-right, 10 years ago, this country had burnt to the ground. You know, there are literally hundreds of thousands of very strong, very angry, very productive, very organised white working class men. There's about 30 million white working class men in this country that would happily take up arms. They've had enough. They've had enough. So if you're going to denigrate everybody as far right and you're going to keep calling everybody as far right, even though they're not far right, there's going to come a point with the British public where they're going to say, well, if I'm going to be hung for a sheep, I might as well be hung for a horse. And they're going to say, if you're going to call me far right, I might as well be far right. If that's what it's going to take to sort this fucking country out, then that's what I'm going to have to do. And that's what all of us are. We're all had enough. We're fed up with it. We're fed up with 350,000 Hamas terrorist supporters marching through the streets of London every single week at a cost to us. Then you tell us we have to spend £56 million protecting the Jewish community. From who? From the far right? From who? You know, and the best enemy you can come up with is Tommy Robinson. For what? When has he ever been arrested for racism? When has he ever arrested for a terrorist offence? When? You know, it's easy to denigrate all of these working class people. It's easy to throw shit at people like Katie Hopkins or whoever, Nigel Farage, whoever you want to come up with, whoever the latest bogeyman is. But the fact of the matter is, it's not any of those. You can say what you like about these people, but they're not gang raping our children, are they? They're not mowers down on bridge. They're not the reason there are still bollards all over the country. They're not the reason we can't go to Christmas markets anymore. So you can hate all these. This is how the British people think. If you're going to pit one against the other, the fact of the matter is there aren't still bollards all over the country. There aren't grooming gangs. There aren't, you know, men running around having to stab terrorists on the bridge with the narwhal tusk because of Tommy Robinson. None of the things that are happening in the UK at the moment are because of Tommy Robinson or Katie Hopkins or Nigel Farage or any of those people. They're not. You know, and for you to think that we are all just sitting here when we're so stupid that we're manipulated by any of these people, that we can't see for ourselves. We can't walk down our own high street and see a big group of foreign men that are eyeing up little girls in school skirts. You know, we're not seeing this. We're too frightened to go to walk our dog because there's big groups of foreign men that we don't know. And that's all Tommy Robinson's fault. That's all because Tommy Robinson's told us to be scared. No, it's bullshit. We're scared because we're fucking scared. Because you fucking fucked the country up. All to line your own fucking pockets. And we've had enough of it. We've had enough. And the pithy fucking speech outside Downing Street was the most ridiculous, pathetic load of shit I think any of us have ever heard.